Good afternoon. Welcome to Inside Indiana Sports Now with Kent Sterling. It's Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. We're brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill, just the best in the business. Give him a call, 317-849-2933. We're at Colts camp. We just talked to Coach Frank Reich. Heard from him an update about Carson Wentz. That's good news. We'll share that in a moment. And then there's some bad news on the back end of it about another offensive lineman going down.
All right, just a quick update today. First on Carson, very successful surgery. Talking to the docs, it was best case scenario. What's that mean? It means you go in, you remove the bone that was in there to remove. You look around and there's nothing else going on. So that was good news. And now it's all about the rehab process. So talked to Carson last night actually and this morning. He's in great spirits. He's already working. We already had a 20-minute meeting on the phone. He's asking me questions about stuff in the offense, and we're working through stuff. So good news there. The second update, let you know that Quenton left practice early yesterday with the foot injury. In an odd twist of events, he's got virtually the same injury as Carson. So it's not exactly the same, but it's essentially the same. Went through the same process, MRIs, consult with the docs. He's having the same procedure done today at 4 o'clock. He'll have that done here in Indy with Dr. Porter, just like Carson did. And it'll be the same time frame. We're obviously very optimistic, just like we are with Carson. Q's was not an old injury. Q's was a developmental anomaly, something that he was kind of born with, something that it's always there, you never know, and then all of a sudden, here it is. So they got there different ways, but essentially the same thing. You can't make that up, right? This is a great opportunity, right, for our guys, for us to build depth on our team. We talk about it all the time. It's just the course of a season, so we get a good chance to evaluate all those guys who can step in, and there's a handful of them. So that's what we're in the process of doing, and we'll be hopeful that Q will be back for week 1. We don't know, but that's what our hope is. You get it fixed, and maybe you're not 100%. You're not really putting yourself in danger very much by coming back and playing with a little bit of pain, is everything I've been told.
We also had a chance to catch up with Colts D-line coach Brian Baker. He had some things to say about the development of the rookies, notably Kwity Paye, and then the development and the reemergence of Kemoko Turay as a force on the D-line. Then we talk a little bit of leadership and talk about DeForest Buckner.
Probably the most pleasant surprise now that we're actually going 11-11 with real tempo and all that stuff. Obviously none of that stuff we did in OTAs. Is his ability to understand what's happening in front of him. And when we make corrections, his ability to apply them. You can tell sometimes looking at a kid's face whether or not he's really, whether or not it's sinking in.
Right.
And for him, it's he's visualizing it as I'm saying it. And you can tell that by the conversation. So, as far as rookies I've had in the past, and I've had some good ones, but he understands the game and can do those things as well or better than the other ones.
Kemoko looks really good, at least from our perspective out here. What do you think about Turay?
Yeah, it's really the whole, forgive the redundancy, but really kind of the same thing, Turay came out with, wanting to do a certain thing and said, okay, we're just going to stay on that and hone that, and it's been good. So we haven't had to start over, with him. It's just, okay, let's try to apply, a couple things to it, and he's able to play right and left, which he never did with any efficiency before. But right now he looks the same coming off of both sides. I think the kid did a tremendous amount of work on the offseason in himself. And the other thing I'm pleased with, is right now he's understanding run blocks. He's setting the edge the way our guys set the edge, and he's taking pride in it. Before it was just something to do so he could play. Now I think he's embracing the personality of the front, and that's that, we want to earn the right to rush the passer by defending the run.
So the guys you've got now and the way they look now, you feel like these guys minus Houston, minus Autry, these guys are ready to go to war and play regular season games and get pressure?
I think we're getting ready to go to war. You know what I mean? And when it's a run, we're getting ready to defend the run with the same efficiency, or if not better, than we did last year. And when they throw the ball, we're preparing to pressure the quarterback as well or better than we did last year. We're preparing for that. Are we ready to play right now today? No, but we don't have to be right now today.
If this is a dopey question, you don't have to answer it, 'cause I think it's probably a dopey question. Not having Anthony Walker and having Bobby Okereke behind, does that change the way the tackles have to do their job?
No, because Bobby understands the defense. He's very demonstrative in his calls. Really appreciate that young man, to be honest with you. That's a great question. Far from dopey. I think the front respects the way he calls the defense. They trust him because he's really smart and he's really conscientious about understanding what's going on up front and how we have to play. So yeah, and you know, not to talk about guys who aren't here, but Walker was the same way. So from that standpoint, you know, there's no change.
Is Buckner kind of the leader both on the field and off?
Absolutely.
What kind of a leader is he?
As needed, I would say probably the best way to describe Buck. He you know, when he sees it, he'll address it. When he feels they're needed, he'll give it to him. You know, he's a leader by first being one of the guys. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's a superior player in this league, not just on his team. But you would never know that by the way he interacts with the players, coaches, teammates. There's none of that, and I think they respect that. And plus, you know, the thing that he gives us that I think a leader has to do first is by example. You know, show me what you want me to do. You ain't got to tell me. Show me what you want me to do. And he shows them how the D-line should play.
That's Colts D-line coach Brian Baker, one of the really, really good guys on the staff. Always enjoy talking to Coach Baker. The workout today, I got to say, it was not Jacob Eason's bright, shiny moment. He made some good throws. The workout did not start well. A couple of fumbled snaps, an interception by Grover Stewart that actually wouldn't have been an interception had the D-line been allowed to hit Eason. They would have sacked him first. Today didn't go well, terribly well for Jacob Eason, and we'll see how things move forward. Sam Ehlinger looked a little bit better, but still you get the feeling that the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, unless the switch flips and all of a sudden he throws lights out, is not going to be a guy who's currently on the roster, but we'll see. There are, 6 weeks, almost 6 weeks until the opener. We got 40 days until the opener. Maybe somehow, some way, Jacob Eason figures it out. It's hard to hold Jacob Eason fully responsible for what's going on because no Ryan Kelly, as we said. Quenton Nelson down for 5 to 12 weeks. Eric Fisher, he's out. So the left side of the offensive line is in tatters. You got guys on the left side of the line who would have had otherwise a difficult shot making the roster if those guys were healthy. So that's kind of what the offensive line is. Jacob Eason not able to stand in the pocket comfortably, deliver the football, but I'm not sure that's really the problem with Jacob Eason. Not to heap a whole pile of poop on Jacob Eason, but you know what? Some of it he's responsible for, and he bears responsibility for it. I got to tell you, Michael Strawn still looks good. Zach Pascal looks terrific. Jonathan Taylor looks dynamic, and he's going to have to be. Between Taylor and Mack, you get the feeling that at least at the beginning of the season, that's where the offensive movement is going to come from. Because throwing the football is going to be a crapshoot, especially behind what is currently kind of a tattered offensive line and led by a guy who's played one full season of football, taken meaningful snaps in one full season out of the last 4. So that's kind of where you are with the Colts. No need to panic yet, and I'm not panicking. We got till September 12th until stuff counts. We'll see if they can't get things settled. Frank Reich still, as you saw, smiling in his availability with the media. Also smiling is Kevin Pritchard because he was able to sign T.J. McConnell yesterday as free agency opened, or they're going to sign him. They've negotiated a deal, and that deal is done. McConnell coming back, and that's great news for the Pacers because what he did is kind of establish a tempo for the offense. Rick Carlisle appreciates that, and he also is very, very opportunistic on the defensive end, averaging 1.9 steals per game. So McConnell coming back, important. Doug McDermott, he's off, and you knew he was going to be. And what I was talking about before, opportunities. You've got opportunities out here, right, at Colts camp. You got guys who are going to be able to show themselves as either worthy of a big paycheck and a lot of playing time or not. With the Pacers, we saw that last year. With TJ Warren playing 4 games, Doug McDermott was pressed into the kind of service that you knew was going to make him a lot of money, and it did make him a lot of money. His career had stagnated 3 or 4 years ago. He came to Indianapolis, and he bounces out of Indianapolis a very, very wealthy man, and that's a good thing for Doug McDermott, who he really liked too. Wish he could come back. But in the absence of McDermott, they're going to rely on other guys who can shoot the basketball at a high level, and they got those guys. So we'll see. And one of those guys is Chris Duarte. Chris Duarte, we're going to be able to see in the Vegas Summer League. That's going to be a lot of fun. Isaiah Jackson as well. Goga Batadze. We talked to O'Shea Brissett yesterday and heard some things about Summer League. Kind of fun to watch basketball in August. And as you know, August is going to be a busy month for Indiana University basketball as they travel to Atlantis and they play in the Bahamas. Those games aren't going to be televised. I don't know how I'm going to be able to watch, but I'm going to find a way to watch because that is what we do. I don't care that it's August. If Indiana is putting on Indiana jerseys, I'm watching those games. I don't know how in the world I'll do it, but I'll find a way. You can bet on that. Tomorrow, Breakfast with Kent, bright and early, about 7 o'clock. I can't wait to talk to you then. Brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry.